What's up, guys? So, Simply Harmonious here. So I don't know how many videos are out there of how to restring your guitar, but I'm gonna go over it. I've already loosened the tension on the strings themselves. As you can hear, they're pretty loose. So you get to this part of the fretboard, and they may be kind of tense, but you've got to pull these little guys out of here. And what those do is they hold. Oh crap! Well, that went flying. But they hold the strings in place so that they don't go flying like that one did. And you may want to use something more like a, what do you call it? Which may end up breaking these. That would be bad. Like a flathead screwdriver. I realize that not everybody has a flathead screwdriver, so if you don't, what might work would be like, I don't know, like a butterfly knife, anything that can get in here and pry these up without breaking them. Like so. These are being pretty stubborn. It's just a bit annoying. Ta-da! 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 Alright, and make sure you don't lose these pieces because they're relatively important. So once you get these little pieces out, which basically they're just, like I said, they're just holding your strings down, you can start the process of pulling these strings out. Make sure that, you know, up the neck of the fretboard that you have released all the tension on these, and you'll tell by the sound. I mean, there's like no sound coming out of them now. And these, once you've released enough tension, will just pop right out of there. Or they should. If they're not popping out, probably a good idea to loosen them even more. So it may take a few tries to figure out just how loose you need to get these. Alright. It's going to be stubborn today. Very stubborn. Alright, it's out. So, this is what your guitar is going to look like when you've pulled your strings out of here. You can see the fretboard here. That's what it's going to look like. So, you have to start the tedious process of pulling each one of these pieces of wire out and unwinding them. And I'll show you here in a minute. It's very important too that when you restring the guitar that you get this wound around a few times, because you absolutely do not want your strings coming loose while you're, for one, while you're playing, but for two, if you've ever had a string break on you or anything, there's a lot of pressure behind it and it can be painful. So another good thing to do while you've already got the strings off is to go ahead and clean the fretboard and clean the head of the guitar and everything, because obviously when the strings are on there it's a little bit difficult to clean underneath, but keeping it clean and keeping your strings clean too will give you a better sound. Alright. So we've got two strung here, and I'll kind of show you what I did in one step here. So with the plug here, it's got a groove in it, so you want to line up the string within the groove, and it's got a little knot at the end, if you want to call it that. and you place both down in here. Push it till it won't go down anymore. You don't want that coming out. And then take your string, bring it on down. Make sure you're putting it into the correct part of the guitar. Alright. So when you're doing this, you want to leave a little bit of slack. You don't want to pull it as tight as you can with your hand, because you're going to let the winding do a little bit for you when you're winding it up to get it wound around that. So you want to leave just a little bit of excess room here so that when you tighten it up down here, it'll wind around a few times. It'll make it less likely to pop loose. And you also want to make sure that when you're putting it in here, that the way you're turning it is the way you want to be able to either raise or lower the pitch. So here, I've already got these tuned, but you see if I go to the left, it goes down. If I go to the right, it goes up in pitch. So obviously here, you want to make this string so that you want to turn it to the right when you're tightening it, so that when you're actually playing, when you turn it to the right, it will also increase the pitch. Alright, so let me, and these are some new strings, so they're still pretty tight. I guess after strings stay on there for a while, they get a little bit looser. Let's see. You can tell if it's getting tighter. Okay, you can hear that. All right. So let's go back to our piano tuner. Okay, so we got 88 Dynamite D. So you can use whatever piano tuner you want, or if you can do it by ear, that's awesome. I'm gonna keep going up. Until you get to D. So E, A, D. You can also see you end up with a bunch of extra, well, a bunch of extra stuff at the end. So you're going to want to cut that off once you're done. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the rest of these in, get them nice and tuned, and then let you see how it sounds. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got the excess broken off. I don't even have a like a wire cutter. What you can do, because they are metal strings, you can just like take a pair of scissors or anything, like a vice grips or anything, and you can just twist them back and forth until they break off. Just be really careful because they are really tiny strings, but they're strong. So you can get sharp edges on there, and I actually poked myself in the finger with one. It's like they're like needles pretty much. So just if you do it that way and you don't just cut it off like a clean cut, try to wind them around or something so you don't accidentally like poke them, because they will cut you, they will puncture you. But we got them all tuned, and this is how they sound now. what I'm noticing is when you put new strings on, because they are still getting, I guess you could say, getting used to their new home, you will have to keep tuning it for a while, but eventually they will stretch, and then you won't have to tune as often. So that is the tutorial on how to change your strings. If you have any questions, just hit me up. Please rate, comment, share, and subscribe.